Alison, here we are in New York, coming to the end of another record year for Irish tourism from North America. We'll have nearly 2 million visitors to Ireland from the USA and Canada by year end. What do you put that success down to?
Well, I think first of all, it's a very strong outbound market from the United States. Americans are travelling in bigger numbers than ever before. And Ireland are very fortunate in the fact that we do have 10% market share. So one in 10 travellers to Europe are coming to Ireland.
Which is remarkable.
Which is really remarkable. So with that growth in demand, I mean, if there's the opportunity for us is to, first of all, hold on to that market share and then grow that market share. So as you said, we will be close hopefully to 2 million visitors this year, but certainly we would hope to welcome 1.8 million visitors. I think that we're forecast could be ahead of that. So this year, what would I put it down to? I think first of all, as I said, a strong outbound market, big increase in air access. In 2017, we've had direct air access from 15 US gateways. And if you look back, to 2008, 2009, we'll probably have 6 or 8 gateways. So huge. It's never been easier to get to Ireland. The cost of getting to Ireland has come down as a result of that increase in air capacity. Some good marketing. I think we have a good understanding of who we are targeting. We understand our consumer. There are opportunities for us to understand our consumer better going forward, but some good, effective marketing, great partnership with industry. I think we had a huge number of Irish industry coming to work with us here in the United States and Canada, but particularly here in the US, and I think that's really important that we're out here front and centre, because out of sight, out of mind.
Absolutely.
And I think the product on the ground, I mean, we have to acknowledge the fact there's been huge investment in the many brand experiences along the Wide Atlantic Way, Ireland's ancient east, Northern Ireland and Dublin, and we can't be complacent because it is a competitive environment. So I think it's access, strong demand, good marketing and a good product on the ground.
And that growth in outbound travel from the States, that's largely predicated on a strong economy.
It is,
and is that set to continue, or what's your view of that?
The industry view would be that it's set to continue into 2018. As I mentioned, it's been a very strong outbound market to Europe generally. Europe will have another record year in terms of US arrivals. And we obviously are doing well in terms of Ireland. We're up 16.4% through the end of October. But many of our competitive destinations, Spain, Portugal and other destinations, are also doing extremely well, Great Britain as well. So looking at what we know, what we can see right now, it's going to continue. It is strong. If you look at unemployment, the unemployment rate is down at 4.2%. Consumer confidence is at almost an all-time high. The stock markets are doing well, so people feel very positive. So the economic fundamentals definitely support a strong outbound market. And when we talk to some of the industry operators at the moment about forward bookings and inquiries for 2018, it's looking very good. And I think one thing we've seen this year, and what seems to be continuing into 2018, is whilst a lot of our key distributors have seen an increase in volume of bookings, they've actually seen a greater increase in revenue and in spend. And I think that's the important thing from the US, is that not only are we seeing that increase in volume, but we're also seeing the spend. I mean, Americans like to spend money, they stay longer than many other markets. So the economic impact that they're bringing to the Irish economy is really significant.
And the dollar, Alison, it's been quite strong over the last year, and that helps as well, doesn't it?
It certainly does. I mean, obviously value for money is key and important, and I think despite the increase that we've seen over the last number of years, particularly in holidaymakers, we have to be we have to keep value for money front of mind. It's a competitive business, and the dollar certainly has helped this year. I mean, when we look at some of our satisfaction surveys and we look at the survey of travellers, I mean, Americans and Canadians do feel they are still getting good value for their dollar.
Which is vital.
Which is vital, and I think it's important. I mean, some of the research we've undertaken this year has told us that we need to, keep that value for money and that ease of purchase message up front when people are looking at just different destinations. They want to get a sense that it offers good value for money at an earlier stage in the decision-making process. Value for money is important, and we have no real issues with it at the moment, but we shouldn't be complacent on that.
Absolutely, we shouldn't take it for granted. And the growth in both volume and revenue, it's year-round, isn't it? It's not anymore just the 3-4 months of the summer season. We're actually seeing good growth in the kind of shoulder seasons as well.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we've had a strategy over the last 5 years really to extend the season. We've prioritised investment, particularly working with the operators and the carriers in driving shoulder season business in Q1 and Q4. And when we look at some of the results over the last 5 years, we've seen significant growth in US business and North American business generally. But if we look at North America, Q1 over the last 5 years, we've seen about 80% increase in business in Q1, and similarly high double-digit growth in Q4, which is still waiting for the 2017 data, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Q4 is still stronger than Q1. The first 11 weeks of the year are tougher, but I think the smart traveller and the informed traveller here in the United States and Canada understand that Europe is a great place to visit, Ireland is a great place to visit in the shoulder months, temperate climate. Most things are open, certainly, in the cities, and it's less expensive, less crowded.
Better value,
Better value. So I think rather than calling it the off-season, I think it really is the smart season.
Yes.
And we at Tourism Ireland, working with our partners on the ground, have had to really talk about and change the narrative about tell people what there is to do and see in Ireland during the shoulder months. Why would you want to go? And I think we've been reasonably successful in doing that. There's always more work to do, but talking about the cultural events, the festivals, and the fact that things are open year round.
Absolutely. You mentioned the increase in the number of gateways, and I know Aer Lingus have expanded significantly. We have the arrival of Norwegian Air, which is the kind of low cost long haul carrier. Is that set to continue into 2018? Is there sort of a projected capacity increase for next year as well?
There is, yes. I mean, if we look at the winter for next year, we have about a 14% increase in air capacity. This is across North America. And if we look at the peak season specifically, it's about a 4% increase. So we're projecting at this point, in terms of what we know, around 62,000 one-way seats each week will be leaving 21 gateways. So that's 16 gateways in the US and 5 gateways in Canada. And specifically some of those new routes mentioned, Owen. Aer Lingus were opening up Seattle in May. They're opening up Philadelphia in March. Air Canada are opening up Toronto to Shannon on a seasonal basis. They're opening up Montreal to Dublin. So lots of new lift. And I expect there could be more going forward. But normally, if we were talking about this maybe even 5 years ago, saying what is the biggest constraint to growth, it was air access. I think the opportunity now that we have with access, we have plenty of access, and there'll always be opportunities for us to grow business with more access too. But the challenge we have now is to make sure that the increase in access that we have, we sustain that. Therein lies gives us opportunities to drive more business in the shoulder season, to spread the business around the island of Ireland. And I think, as we've talked about before, some of that access, particularly some of the access that Aer Lingus are bringing into the city, bringing into the market, they're using Dublin, they're promoting Ireland, they're using Dublin as a European hub. We have an opportunity to try and secure as much of that capacity for Ireland.
Yes.
We probably, we won't secure all of it, but there's a massive opportunity for us to look at how we can create new opportunities to introduce Ireland to new markets, to younger travellers. So a big opportunity and a very exciting one for us to look to grow business next year.
And do you have a figure in mind as to what the increase might be next year, or is it too early to say?
In terms of
visitor numbers?
Yeah, I think we'll be, looking at, I think the targets we're probably looking at next year at around a 6% increase in visitors, about an 8% increase in revenue.
Which is great on top of a record year.
Oh, it is, absolutely. On top of a record year, and also when we just look at what our competitive situation is likely to be.
Yeah. And we've talked before about the marketing budget being finite, and there's only so much money to be able to be spread around. How can you cover that many gateways and provide sort of a year-round marketing presence for Ireland with a relatively small budget?
Well, obviously it becomes more challenging as we have an opportunity we've got 16 gateways in the US, but it's not just the gateways, it's looking at those behind points, those feeder markets where Tourism Ireland can go in and create that demand. So, potentially we could be marketing in 30 to 40 cities across the United States. How do we do with that with either less money or the same money? Well, we have to be obviously very focused in how we invest our resources. We have to be very output driven, and we have to look at the opportunities to partner with other brands. So in terms of creating top-line brand awareness, Tourism Ireland will continue to invest in television and digital. Digital gives us an opportunity to really tell our story across multiple platforms, multiple touch points.
And you can be very targeted on digital.
We can be very targeted. We can be very effective in the way we invest those dollars, how we measure that investment, and and reallocate it if as necessary. TV and digital working together has proven to really drive increased awareness, increased brand uplift. And what that really means is driving more visits to our website, it's driving more organic search about Ireland, so that's a really positive thing. The second thing really is to optimise the opportunity to work with partners. So we work very closely with all of the airlines, with a lot of tour operators, and we have started to look for new brand partnerships, so looking at opportunities to bring Ireland to new audiences. So an example of that would be the Saks Fifth Avenue brand partnership that we launched in New York and also in Beverly Hills this year. where we were looking to bring Ireland to a very upscale audience.
Yes.
It was a multi-channel campaign. Not only did it involve bringing Ireland into the windows of the flagship stores, but it involved a lot of digital activities. We've also worked with the Weather Network in Canada to do something similar, and we've worked with, we're looking at other opportunities to expand. So it's a challenge, but it's important that we continue to invest upfront now before we get to the top of that cycle. I think one reason we've done so well in the past is the fact we did invest through thick and thin.
Yes.
And now we have an opportunity to really sort of step it up, ramp it up, and really we are moving into the bigger league of European destinations here in North America now, particularly here in the United States, as we get very, very close to that 2 million milestone.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think we'd all like to see more marketing budgets for you to commit to North America, and it's something that certainly the industry are full square behind. Tell us a little bit about Canada. You mentioned it there. It's always, I suppose, seen as the little brother of the two North American countries, but it's been very successful over the last couple of years, and more progress is expected next year.
Yeah, I mean, it moved in 2016. It moved into a top 10 market. It became our number 10 market. Again, like the American market is high spending, it's long staying, and we expect to welcome probably close to 225,000 visitors.
And of course, we had the bromance between Leo Varadkar and Justin.
That all helps. Great publicity, great PR, for sure. We've seen, I mean, the big driver there has been the increase in air access. We've had more direct access, more year-round access than we've ever had before. And in fact, when you look at the increase in air access from Canada, it's it's much larger because we're coming up with a smaller base. We think about 9,000 seats a week now coming onto the island. So big opportunities there. So we're looking to obviously make our marketing dollars go as far as possible, with a big emphasis on digital marketing there, really targeting our investment on the culturally curious traveller and looking for top-tier broadcast opportunities. So our recent partnership with the Weather Network is a good example of that. But when we look at the holidaymakers coming from Canada, they have really grown exponentially over the last 5 years. It's a market that has more potential to grow.
Yeah, and they're a bit like the US traveller. They spend quite a bit of time in Ireland. They tend to tour. They have a good affinity with the north. They
do. I mean, on average, they're spending just over 9 nights. 1 in 3 Canadians travelling to the island of Ireland are travelling to Northern Ireland. So a very important market for Northern Ireland, and particularly given the shared heritage. But and they're also a market that is becoming more comfortable travelling to Ireland in the shoulder months. Again, that was an important strategic decision we took when we suddenly saw an increase in air access. The challenge was a great opportunity to grow the market, but we need to sustain that access. So again, I think having a Canada expansion coming on stream next year is going to be very welcome, and we look forward to working with more Irish industry to grow that market. And I think it'd be fair to say we have seen a much bigger uptake in our marketing opportunities from the industry in Ireland, working with us to grow business in Ontario, but also in Western Canada, where we obviously have air access to from Vancouver on a seasonal basis.
And industry has seen the benefits. I know you carry out quite a lot of research in the States and stuff, and we always think of Ireland being thought of in a very positive fashion by the North American traveller. Is that still the case, or are there any warning signs that industry should be aware of or be conscious of?
Overall, it's very positive. I mean, and I think when you're marketing Ireland in North America, Ireland is seen as a very positive destination. It's in a very positive light. It's seen as an exotic, aspirational destination. And you're right, particularly in the US, we undertake a brand tracker every year just to check that health. There are some warning signs now. I mean, we are seeing some erosion in the brand health, and certainly when we look at our marketing communications and we look at we use a measure around spontaneous advertising recall. So interest levels and our ranking is slipping a little bit. And that really is a factor of obviously trying to do more with less and trying to deliver cut through. I mean, at the end of the day, our job is to deliver standout for Ireland, to give our target audiences reasons why they should visit, and that really requires, this is a big market, requires high level of investment to do that and to connect with those consumers in a meaningful and very sort of authentic way. So there are some warning signs, but overall, I mean, Ireland is certainly seen as a positive destination. The biggest challenge probably for so many people in both markets is that they want to go to Ireland sometime in the future.
Yes.
And our job is to sort of get it off their bucket list and make that that interest,
make them commit now, or
now.
certainly within the next 12 months.
And the way to do that is to give them, compelling reasons to go, relevant reasons, things that really talk to their interest, their passion points. And I think it is starting with interests and experiences first and almost destination second. So whether we're talking about a great place for food, for culture, for music, for art, whatever it happens to be, to create an element of surprise for people and get people to think about Ireland in a way that perhaps they haven't thought about it before.
Yeah. Great. Alison, thank you so much. Thank you for all the hard work this year, and the best of luck for next year.
Thank you very much.